Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to the English News Bulletin on MMTV. I'm Aisha Tashkil with the news this hour. President Dr. Mohammad Muiz emphasizes the strength and well-being of Maldivian families are closely tied to the country's overall development and future progress. The president made these remarks on the occasion of the International Day of Families, marked annually on May 15th. In a message via his official X account, President Dr. Muiz noted that Islam places the highest priority on maintaining and strengthening family relationships. He stated that as Maldivian families become stronger, more prosperous and more comfortable, the nation will advance more rapidly. The government has implemented several initiatives aimed at supporting families, including the Halukihine program launched by the Ministry of Social and Family Development. The initiative has received positive feedback from the public for enabling direct engagement between citizens and government officials. As part of the program, ministry representatives have visited various atolls to meet with residents, listen to their concerns and provide support. In related development, the government is also planning to open a dedicated hospital for women and children within the current term. President Dr. Mohammad Muiz has stated that the people should have the power to remove elected leaders, not just choose them, calling it essential for a functioning democracy.
On the 6th episode of the Rakyat Tanaku podcast, President Dr. Muiz said true public empowerment depends on the electorate's ability to hold their leaders accountable between elections. He described this as a cornerstone of democratic legitimacy, as he outlined a series of proposed constitutional reforms aimed at reshaping governance in the Maldives. The president emphasized that democracy must go beyond elections and provide citizens with meaningful ways to hold leaders accountable between terms. He said the Maldives should not simply imitate foreign models blindly, but instead create a system that suits local values and builds trust. Among the proposed changes is the introduction of a preferential voting system for presidential elections. President said the reform could eliminate the need for costly runoff votes, streamline the electoral process, and ensure majority-backed leadership from the outset. He added that this would be subject to thorough research and wide public consultation before any implementation. He also supported the idea of holding presidential and parliamentary elections simultaneously, citing potential savings and increased efficiency for the geographically dispersed island nation. On parliamentary reform, the president proposed a cap of 93 members of parliament, warning that unchecked expansion could burden public finances and weaken the institution's effectiveness. While proportional representation remains important, he said the parliament must remain manageable and accountable. Changes are also planned for local councils. The government aims to restructure atoll councils, proposing 3 members for populations under 2,000 and 5 for larger communities. Eligibility criteria for council and Women's Development Committee candidates will be revised, and the Ministry of Finance and Planning will be tasked with monitoring the use of council funds to ensure alignment with community needs. Reaffirming his commitment to inclusive governance, President stressed that all major constitutional amendments would be subject to public consultation and, where appropriate, national referenda. He stated that government would not take unilateral decisions on matters that shape the country's democratic future. He also raised the possibility of adjusting the start date of the presidential term through legal means should the need arise.
Transport Minister Mohammad Amin retains his position following a no-confidence motion in the Maldives Parliament on May 15, 2025. The motion, initiated by 12 members of the Maldivian Democratic Party (MDP), was defeated with 54 votes against and 11 in favor, falling short of the 47 votes required for passage. The MDP's motion stemmed from allegations that Minister Amin obstructed investigations into the suspicious fall of Hawa Yum Rashid from a building in Malé in April 2025. This incident sparked the Dule Nukuranam protests, during which demonstrators demanded accountability from several officials, including Minister Amin, for perceived mishandling of the case and a lack of transparency in the investigations. Appointed in November 2023 under President Dr. Mohammad Moise's administration, Amin has overseen significant transportation initiatives, including the expansion of domestic air routes and modernization of ferry services. Despite these efforts, his tenure has faced criticism over project delays and concerns regarding procurement transparency. The President's Office inaugurates the Executive Development Program EDP 2025 to 2027 on Wednesday, an initiative aimed at strengthening leadership capacity among senior government officials. Spearheaded by the Political Appointees Performance Management Unit under the Political Affairs Office, the program is being conducted in collaboration with the Civil Service Training Institute and the Foreign Service Institute of Maldives. The first session was held at the auditorium of King Salman Mosque and was attended by a significant number of participants from ministries and government institutions. Afif Hussain delivered the inaugural lecture titled Leading and Transforming a Nation Through a Service Excellence Culture. The EDP is designed to build the capabilities of senior executives, including political appointees, by focusing on areas such as managerial competencies, organizational effectiveness, interagency coordination, and the adoption of best practices. Participants will undergo a series of interactive sessions, including lectures, workshops, seminars, and expert-led dialogues throughout the duration of the program. The government spent 2.4 billion rupiah on debt repayment as of April, while available foreign exchange reserves stood at $171.3 million, according to figures released by the Ministry of Finance and the Maldives Monetary Authority, MMA.
Data from the MMA indicated that the state's official reserve assets stood at $856.3 million at the end of April. In addition, the MMA's investments in local banks, although not classified as official reserve assets, amounted to $143 million. This brought the total reserve assets to approximately $999 million. These additional foreign currency assets, although invested in domestic banks, are still accessible to the MMA under the regulatory conditions governing reserve assets. Although the reserve position has improved significantly, a short-term outflow of $828 million from the total reserve suggests that the central bank retains $171.3 million in usable foreign exchange assets. This increase in usable foreign reserves is attributed primarily to two developments. Firstly, a $400 million deposit received through a currency swap arrangement between the MMA and the Reserve Bank of India. Part of this deposit has been allocated as investments in local banks. Secondly, in accordance with foreign exchange regulations, businesses earning revenue in foreign currency are required to deposit funds in domestic banks. At the end of April, $214 million had been deposited in banks, according to a statement from the President's office. The President noted that 60% of the foreign currency assessed by banks would be sold to the MMA. The foreign exchange reserve position has strengthened, while government expenditure on debt servicing has risen significantly. As of April last year, the government has spent 931.9 million rupiah on debt servicing. During the same period this year, 2.4 billion rupiah was expended, which is an increase of 165.3%. The cost of debt servicing for the current year is projected to reach $500 million. Of this, the previous administration repaid $100 million borrowed from a private company in 2022, in addition to interest payments on the loan. The government has assured international financial institutions that debt obligations will continue to be met without disruption. It further claimed that this year's fiscal policies have successfully eliminated the budget deficit. These measures have countered earlier warnings from some financial institutions regarding the possibility of a sovereign default. Despite ongoing fiscal pressures, the government maintains that the national economy is expected to grow at a stable and sustainable pace.
In here today.
Of course, bro. It's the kickoff. It's the new Premier League season. I'll be ready. Get loud. This is new faces, latest drip, and fresh trims. It's time to believe. The greatest league in the world is back.
Brought to you by MediaNet.
Kafa, tiga pocket ennetannu kontaga phonulani. Kafa, passport atungi fangolani kogillijiyayo. Kafe kanitudani, foshigillijiyayo.
Kokko hasnuwe, kafe dani hajjan umra plan nagag. Konkamaka kafa haswamvi. Ituru malumat Elite mobile app adi myelite.mv.
Elite Ailaya Marhaba.
Welcome back to more local news. Bank of Maldives BML officially launches new ATM services on Nonu Hambadu and Nonu Kudafari Islands, marking a significant step in the national initiative to expand banking accessibility throughout the Maldives. At the launch ceremony, Minister of Economic Development and Trade Mohammed Said highlighted that President Dr. Mohamed Moise has fulfilled his pledge to bring ATM services to these islands, providing much-needed convenience to residents and local businesses. He praised the government's focus on improving financial inclusion and commended BML's management and staff for their dedication in delivering these essential services to remote communities. BML CEO Mohammed Sharif reaffirmed the bank's commitment to ensuring no island or citizen is left behind despite the logistical challenges of installing ATMs across the archipelago. While digital banking now accounts for around 90% of customer transactions, with about 1 million daily logins on BML's online platforms, ATM usage continues to grow steadily, with machines processing approximately 38,000 transactions daily. Sharif pointed to the recent successes as evidence of the program's impact. In Dal Atoll, ATMs installed 2 months ago processed over 2,000 deposit transactions totaling 14 million rupiah, reducing the need for travel to access banking services. During Ramadan, ATM services across all islands in Halif Atoll enabled 8,000 deposits worth 45 million rupiah and 27,000 withdrawals totaling 52 million rupiah in just 5 weeks. By the end of April, ATMs outside the capital Male had handled 240,000 transactions valued at 1.3 billion rupiah, showing steady growth in both deposits and withdrawals in the atolls. BML plans to install ATMs on more than 100 islands by the end of 2025, increasing its nationwide network to over 250 machines. This expansion aligns with President Dr. Moise's vision to ensure comprehensive banking access for all Maldivians, regardless of their location. Government dollar revenue has increased by 32.2% during the first 4 months of this year, according to data released by the Maldives Inland Revenue Authority, MIRA.
Figures published by MIRA indicate that from January 1st to April 30th this year, revenue denominated in US dollars totaled $551.1 million US dollars. During the corresponding period last year, the total was $417.1 million. This represents a year-on-year increase of 32.2%. Both tax and non-tax revenue in dollars showed growth over the previous year as per the same data. Dollar-denominated tax revenue for the current period reached $439.2 million compared to $351.7 million during the same time frame last year. Non-tax revenue collected in dollars also experienced a substantial increase, rising to $112 million, up from $65.4 million, a 71.1% year-on-year increase. As a result, government tax revenue rose by 25% compared with the same period in the previous year. Authorities attribute the rise in revenue to coordinated efforts between MIRA and the Ministry of Finance, particularly in the recovery of outstanding payments owed to the state through various mechanisms. These efforts have reportedly led to greater compliance with taxation regulations and an overall increase in payments made by taxpayers.
The Ministry of Construction, Housing and Infrastructure is inviting developers to express interest in building a domestic airport in Alif Alif, Mativeri. In a notice published in the Government Gazette on Wednesday, the ministry called for expressions of interest, EOIs, from parties with financial and technical capacity to undertake the project. Declared a key national development, the Mathiwari Airport will be developed under a cross-subsidy model as outlined in a presidential decree issued on April 1st, 2025. Under this model, developers may propose business ventures to finance both the construction and operation of the airport. Proposals may also be structured through contract financing, public-private partnerships, or loan arrangements. The project's terms of reference, detailing specifications and submission requirements, are now available on the ministry's official website. EOIs must be submitted by Sunday, June 15, 2025, either in person at the ministry or via email. This announcement follows President Dr. Mohammad Muiz's visit to Mathiwari in December 2024, during which he confirmed the airport would be among the government's key infrastructure projects for 2025. Addressing Mathiwari residents, the President underscored the airport's potential to boost economic growth, not only for the island but also for the broader region. An Italian cruise liner, Aida Stella, carrying 2,650 tourists, arrives in the Maldives, marking the second cruise ship visit to the country this month. The vessel, which caters to tourists from Switzerland, Austria and Germany, docked in Male on 14th May after departing from Colombo, Sri Lanka. Maldives Customs Service confirmed clearance for 2,022 passengers and 628 crew members. This arrival makes Aida Stella the 10th cruise liner to visit the Maldives in 2025. Earlier this month, Indian cruise liner MS Nautica brought in 610 tourists and 397 crew members. In March, MS Insignia Luxury, operated by Oceania Cruises, also made a stop in the Maldives, contributing to a growing number of cruise ship arrivals. In response to rising demand, the Maldivian government has announced plans to develop cruise-dedicated jetties in 3 regions of the country, alongside other initiatives to support cruise tourism. Tourist arrivals in the Maldives have reached over 897,000 so far this year, with the government targeting a total of 2.3 million visitors in 2025. And that concludes all the news we have for you this hour. Thank you for watching and have a very pleasant day ahead.